Oh, hello. Well, look what's arrived here in Australia, west of Sydney. We're pretty close, so we got it fresh off the boat. Um, so who loves those unboxing videos where the guy like spends 2 minutes talking about like the history of the game and the history of the Kickstarter before actually doing anything, and you're just kind of sitting there watching a box and you're like, oh, I've seen the box, I want to see what's in the box. Yeah, I don't like those either. However, I will say that a combination of Panda and Etherworks, and everybody's done a fantastic job shipping this. I mean, just look at the edges are crisp and nice, much better than a lot of the games I bought off eBay, which pretty much get destroyed in the post. You'll see they give you some good shrink wrapping and all these fellas. Not so good for the environment, but pretty awesome for your game. All right, let's get the lid off. I will confess I have had this open, mainly because I just want to make sure everything was in there, because the last thing you want is me opening this up and going, you son of a... I think you'd be happy with the box. It's pretty nice, and this has that sort of almost linen feel to it, like some of the cards are supposed to have. It's quality. It is quality. So anyway, everything nicely stacked in here. It's interesting how, you know, I mean, technically this is mass produced. There's several thousand of them, but because this is a labour of love from one guy, you know, Cody's really looked at all the details, the packing, and it just means that everything's nice. Like, you know, your rule book is all crisp. It's not all mushed down in the corner. I like how these are, you know, everything just fits perfectly, and they've also got this little fella here, which I think you'll throw away once you've unpacked everything, but it just stops, you know, the lid getting compressed, and so you don't end up with any of those horrible wrinkles on the corners here that you will see on some of the more mass-produced products. Now this comes shrink wrapped. I took the shrink wrap off just to have a quick look earlier. There's your ship cards, and of course the Fame Point track. Nice printing on the back there. It's really crisp, really nice. And it again, it's got that linen feel, which I believe was one of the stretch goals. Money well spent, I say. These are really thick, really nice. As you can see, as an Australian, I am required by law to play this as a wobble board. Could be better as a wobble board, but as a gaming mat, really nice. See, it sits super flat on the table, so that's going to be great. That is going to be great. And all the actual game board and outfits and such. This one fell out as I was messing around, which means you're not going to have to use much force to push these out at all. They're going to come out very nicely. Look at that, one-handed, and be clean, and they're not going to tear. That's the other thing that's terrible when you get those little tears along here. But that's going to look really nice on the table. Again, the nice thick stock means it sits really flat. A lot of these games, especially ones with the big boards, you know, you got everything's kind of lifting up, and then when you're all done, you pop them in this nice custom. The custom plastic insert is nice. It is really something you do not see even on games that cost a lot more than this. Again, that's the one-man show. The benefit of the one-man show: extra bags for your goodies. Of course, you whack these all in here when you've got them all pressed out, and that's nice. Because with these games with a lot of components, you don't want to be opening up, spending, you know, the pre-setup, you know, organising everything out of the bag first. The cards, shrink wrapped, for goodness. Again, we'll have a look at these in a minute. But you can even see, just looking at the side of them, that they're nice and thick, very kind of high end. These are here because, again, I just had a quick look at a couple of them with my son, but normally you're actually supposed to put your ships here. Got the sellsword, of course, because why wouldn't you, given the price. We'll get him out in a minute. So it's interesting, when I opened this out, my first thought was like, uh-oh, the ships are missing, because we know that the ships go here. But in fact, they're all mashed down in the corner here, not on their stands, and it's up to you to put them together. That's for shipping, so you can discard that, and then you got all the goods. All right, so I'm going to get these things out, and then we'll have a bit of a closer look at the components. Uh-oh. All right, here we are. So we're beginning the unboxing process. I'm getting the ships out to have a look first, and here is our first glitch. A flight stand that is crooked as all heck. Now, you might be a bit worried because there's 21 ships, so you want your flight stands to be nice. But the good news is, there's way more flight stands than you actually need. So this little fella is disappointing, but not a deal breaker. All right, let's keep going. Well, here they are. I think probably for this Kickstarter, this was the real kind of, this was the real selling point. The fact that these miniatures were going to come pre-painted. And I think it's also the most contentious part of this whole game as a product. It's very interesting. I think, again, as a game that a guy has made at home and got it done on Kickstarter, they're amazing. They're sort of beyond sensible criticism. If this was a Fantasy Flight game or some other big title, you know, massive budget, lots of marketing, you know, every shop, and they expected us to pay, you know, kind of big bucks for it. There are a few issues. I think basically the ambition of the painting outstrips the actual ability of the manufacturer to get it done with any sort of level of consistency. We saw in all the updates, Cody, you know, sending ships back and back and back, and I think the final results here are pretty good, and there's a few that maybe didn't come out maybe as well as I would think even Cody was hoping. This little fella, Numerator, tricky to do a close-up on the old GoPro, but yeah, not impressive. Not impressive. Pretty messy. I think the intention is for them to look like the ships on their ship card. Numerators just I think the main thing really is the brightness and vividness of the colors. That's what the paint that's been used really hasn't been able to capture. I think some people might counter that saying, oh, they're supposed to look used and kind of run down and dirty, and that's fine, and if you can get your head around that, then I think they look great. I think the ones with the biggest problem is Mark Horror here, or Mac Horror. This probably all sounds pretty weird to you Americans in my accent, but whatever. Is supposed to have a little bit more detail around the engines, some colors there that just simply do not appear to have come out at all. If you look, you won't be able to see with this camera, but if you look right on the top of those kind of engine intakes here, there are very, very faint orange stripes. I think this one just hasn't come out. That said, I mean, look at it. It's an awesome miniature. It's definitely one of the better miniatures, and that's the other thing. I think with this many ships, I mean, you've got your 18 playables, and then you've got the 4. If you've got sellsword, you've got the 4 NPC ships here. It's hugely challenging for one person to make 18 totally awesome designs. I think they're all good. Some of them are a lot better than others. Yeah, as we say in Australia, yeah, mate, nah. And I think also the old merchant has not come out of the manufacturing process super awesome, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's all right. Maybe it's all right. Just a little disappointed with the sellsword. I think he's kind of just blue and black. I think I don't know if we got some nice orange here. It'd be interesting to know if Cody's watching this and going, "Oh my God, that's not right. That's not right. Oh, that's missing a thing." But anyway, an important lesson for next time. Okay, so after criticizing the miniatures, which is probably going to make someone pretty angry because of the internet, I thought a little bit of a comparison might be in order. And it is interesting. I mean, you get these miniatures out of the box by themselves and you think, oh, that paint's a bit dirty, you know, oh, that detail's not as good as it could be. But then you bust out your other games and you realize that, in fact, it does make a massive difference having painted miniatures. So what you got here is you got a little wraith from StarCraft, the board game, Fantasy Flight game. As you can see, he's as crooked as all hell. Nice crisp miniature, but you know, pretty flimsy and kind of a shape on the table. Really, to my mind, this is my favourite at this stage. Just look, I think he's come out the best. Just with that, the purple and the silver. It's just a really great contrast. I think that was the thing. This is Nightshade. I think it was a stretch goal miniature. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Lots of nice detail there. Here's these are the Kings of Miniatures, of course, Citadel or Games Workshop, whatever the hell they're called now. This is from the new Space Hulk. Really, really intense detail. Really, really crisp. Really, really nice. You have to assemble these, and of course they're not painted. And then from Twilight Imperium, this, I don't know, horrible piece of plastic that's kind of bent and rubbish. And I just don't know if I'll ever be able to play that game again. Thanks very much, Cody, because it cost me quite a bit of money. And then, of course, just because I'm not above making ridiculous comparisons, here's the Skylander, which is fantastic and absolutely fine if you're happy to pay like $5 per miniature production cost. And then presumably you end up with a $1,000 game, which is fine. So I think especially for a first generation painted miniature experience, from Cody's perspective, I mean, I just think they're really, really good. They're really good, even if a few of them are maybe not as spectacular as some of the others. Just a quick side note here. Don't do the wobble board joke with your ship mats because yeah, this will happen. So they can curve. So when you're playing, I think you want to tell people don't be like going like this or messing around. But they do seem to flatten out again quite nicely. I think with use they'll probably curve up a bit, but really compared to again Twilight Imperium, it's much better. Speaking of which, there's a comparison for you. If you're worried about where your stretch goal money went, I'm not quite sure how clear it is, but as you can see, it is considerably thicker player board. I think the size is better as well. That's nice and compact, and this you really do need a giant table like this one in order to play comfortably. Okay, we've got all the goodies out now. Time for another comparison. So here's Space Hulk. Ugh. Twilight Imperium. Ugh. And Shia. Oh. No, do you say Zia or Gia? I want to say Shia because it's just a bit too, topical. But yes, as you can see, I don't know if I got all these bits in the right thing because I couldn't find the update where he gave us the nice diagram. I guess you could put the damage markers in here and the cubes up in there if you wanted, and I've just piled all the cardboard pieces in here together. I'm not sure if that's what we're supposed to do. I love these things. I love that someone in manufacturing's gone, look, we're making all these car indicator lights, we've got all these offcuts, what should we do with them? And someone's gone, oh, let's sell them to those board game freaks as like lava or explosions. These are the damage markers, of course. I think they look great. And all the ships jam in here, and just look at it. Just look at it. There's that nice, and there's a oh, are my miniatures breaking? Oh, my miniatures are fine, etc. And then you've got your all your ship cards here. It's actually a and there's the board, as it were. That's very interesting, isn't it? Like there's the board versus the board. Oh, God. I mean, if I was a proper fan, I would have come up with some nice storage solution. But what we're looking at here is what you get in the packet, you see. I mean, with Twilight Imperium's got so many components. Like I've had to go and buy all these daggy, lunch containers, sandwich things. You got all these components, bits. But this is a really good balance of number of bits to play with, and not going to have to take over your entire house. And having all the cards there and that's really nice. This is probably one of the main selling points, as it were, and a real good story for a properly run Kickstarter. Just some notes on look and feel. This game, like for you real fetishists out there, like Space Hulk is sort of like one of that 3rd edition or 4th edition or whatever it is, with those awesome miniatures. But this feels more premium, I will say. I mean, using the transparent or translucent, whatever the term is, cubes, that's just fantastic. These are really thick and nice and linen. Like this feels as good as, we got Descent as well in this house, and that's a really nicely produced game, 2nd edition. But these Yeah, these feel as good, if not better. And of course, now the metal coins, which was a kind of quite a late stretch goal. And these are probably the part of the game that I saw most obviously go through kind of a more traditional design process with an art director and that sort of thing. And I think they look really, really good, and they feel great. And honestly, you know, you could put these on an episode of your preferred sci-fi show, and they would just look like normal, good quality props, you know. And I hope we see them in some indie movies down the track, and they go there. I think the fact that they've got a little wash, I mean, maybe Cody will clarify again for us whose idea it was to put that black wash on it, because without it, you wouldn't be able to see the detail of 1,000 credits. That font is a little wacky, but I don't mind. And the back is great. I mean, that actually really looks like the kind of thing that some weird space bureaucracy would put on the back of their coins. And then there's the 5,000 credit one, which is the bluey, you know, platinum-y style color, which is great as well. Which I think is that color, is that painted on or is that baked into the metal itself? Anyway, your dice, and then these are wood, which is interesting. The only wooden component. Yeah, I think they're wood, aren't they? I don't know. But that gives it that just little hint of Euro feel to it, whereas the rest is, I think we need a new term for a merry trash. I think we just should call it awesome. Because there's nothing trash about this, though technically it is a merry trash game, because it has lots of components and a lot of kind of literal stuff, you know, like it looks like a spaceship. Like the Europeans would have done this with a, I don't know, a tetrahedron of some kind. Yeah, all right, I might set it up and see how it looks. Just before we do that, this is an interesting little thing. Here's the cutout, the boards, which I'll toss out. But you do get this one as well, which includes 2 blank sectors and all these blank tiles. This is labeled as the dev kit. As you know, Cody's always been very big on modding for the game. How exactly that's all going to work, to what extent he's going to support it, I think that's still under discussion. So you got 3, well, 2.5 flight stands, and some blank. These blank ones are on the other sheets, and then you've got these as well. You can draw your own stupidly overpowered outfits on them, just to wreck the balance that Cody spent 7 years doing. Okay, well, here we are, set up for our very first game. This is according to Cody's recommended first game setup. It's all detailed here, including which outfits you should use and all that kind of stuff, which is actually very helpful. A pro tip for you when you're laying out the first 4 sector maps, you see they're supposed to match up these here. You see that one matches up, and then that one matches up. Now the thing is, if you don't read the rules carefully, you will do your head in trying to get them all to match up, because this one doesn't match. But in fact, the rule is you match them as you lay them down. So you do this one first, and then you match that. Then you put this one in, and you match that, and then matches that, and you don't worry about this one. Sometimes there'll be 1 mismatch, sometimes 2. Yeah, had me scratch my head for the whole, about 3 minutes. I like how much space it takes up on the table. Obviously it's going to get bigger as we lay out all the other sectors, but all this is nice and compact. You got a rule book and a the ship's special ability card, but that's all game rule stuff. I don't want to go into that. When you're all set up with got your little outfits on the board, which looks great, and your markers and all that business, and it's really great. So far, my favourite part of the game. Yeah, mate, chuck us 3,000 credits, mate. Oh yeah, that metallic coin sound is just really cool. Alright, ready to go. Now all I have to do is wait for the kids to get home.